couldn't have newspaper readers because that was a boy's job. And I came up with a workaround, and my mom supported me in it. I sublet my brother's best friend's newspaper read from him. And as soon as the law changed, we put it into my name. So I was one of the very first news girls. But my mom and my dad supported me in this. As I was growing up and looking at careers and looking at going to college, the question wasn't, are you going to college? It was, where are you going to college? And are we going to be able to get you into a good school? Because you need to work harder. And I received a wonderful education and many friends, and I've had many opportunities. I was never ever involved in politics. And then I met Bill, and Bill got me involved in politics. For those of you who don't know, when we moved here, Bill said that he wanted to meet fellow Democrats in Henderson, and he said, well, where's their Democratic club? And people said to him, there are no Democrats in Henderson. And Bill said, that's ridiculous. The Speaker of the Assembly, Richard Perkins was Speaker at the time, the Speaker of the Assembly is from Henderson, of course there are Democrats. Well, it took a couple of years, but Bill reached out to Speaker Perkins, and he refounded the Henderson Democratic Club. And I wound up getting put on the board just to kind of be the good wife, help her husband, you know, everything to forward Democratic values, but to be there for Bill. And before I knew it, I was rising up through the ranks of the club, and I was, at one point, I was first vice president of the club. Roberta Lang, our state chair now, was president at the time. And Roberta said to me one day, she said, you know, Ellen, there's this new organization that's forming. It's called Emerging Nevada. They're going to be training women to run for office, and I think it would be a good thing for you to do. And I thought about it, and I said, all right. So by the time I was in Emerge, I was president of the Henderson Democratic Club. Roberta had moved on to, I think, county chair. And I went through this fabulous program. And I said, you know what, I'm going to run for office. Except I lived in a district that not only was it a Republican district and hadn't elected a Democrat for 20 years, it had never elected a Democratic woman, ever. And I said, but I think I can win. And we started what I called a little campaign that could. And we just kept saying, I think I can, I think I can, I know I can. And just kept working and working and working. But even when I was going through the Emerge program and starting to work on this, I wanted to make sure that I wanted to serve in the Assembly. And I don't know if Speaker Kirkpatrick remembers this, but I was given the opportunity to spend the day shadowing her. And I spent the day and I learned about what a typical day in the life of a legislator was. And I said, I want to do that. I want to be like this woman. I want to be making positive change for the people of Nevada. So when I started running, I did as much as I could, and I worked as hard as I could, and I loved my first session, I loved my first term, and those Republicans, though, they just didn't get it. So sadly, I was not returning from there. But then they redistricted, they cut up my district into 4 pieces, and it was my anniversary weekend. And Bill and I always have a hard time figuring out what to get each other for our anniversary. I'm still working on his 10th anniversary present, and we'll turn 15 this October. And I sat there and I looked at these new maps that came out, and I said, oh honey, just like that, oh honey. And he knows that that's never a good thing. I said, I know what I want for our anniversary this year, and he said, what's that? I said, I want a house over there where I can win. And he said, okay. We still don't have the house, but we have the apartment, and we have the seat, and it's all been great. And I owe it all to Emerge. I owe it to the wonderful women from Emerge. I also owe a huge debt to my volunteers and my supporters. During my last campaign, we mailed out, at the end of the campaign, we mailed out handwritten postcards to all likely voters. There are women in this room who wrote out hundreds of postcards for me. Please elect my friend Ellen. There are people in this room who have supported me financially. There are people in this room who have knocked doors for me. There are people in this room who have done so much for me that I can't even begin to tell you. And it's just been wonderful, and they're just mentors and friends, and I just have to say thank you to everybody, and I wish I could list you out all by name, and I'm sorry that there isn't enough time, but thank you.
You're welcome.